We're joined now by Paloma's twin brother, Gabriel Shemirani, and investigative journalist Marianna Spring. Good morning to you both. Good morning. Can I first of all talk to you, Gabriel, about growing up and were conspiracy theories like a part of your childhood? Were they talked about quite a lot in your house?
Yeah, so for as long as I can remember, conspiracy theories were part of our growing up. And as a young child, you don't really think about it too much. Like if your mum and dad are saying 9/11 was an inside job or 7/7 was an inside job, you're an 8-year-old, so it doesn't really concern you. So it only gets to when you're about 10, 11, 12 that it starts sort of shaping your worldview and your approach to politics. So, we say in the documentary that me and my brother, up until the age of 13, believed that the royal family was shape-shifting lizards. So it's stuff like that where it's very extreme, but it breeds into your life. And even some of the more conspiracy theories where they're not as extreme, but they're still obviously wrong. So like the 9/11 was an inside job, kind of things. Or especially with my mum, around the age of 12, it became the medical establishment is out to kill you. They're seeking to kill you. You can't touch them. You can't have vaccines. All vaccines are dangerous. Every vaccine is going to kill you. She really forced the idea of, for example, like the MMR vaccine causing autism.
It was, I think she got cancer herself, didn't she, your mum, in 2012?
So my mum got cancer in 2012 and she had conventional diagnosis, conventional surgery. And the surgery essentially was what cured her. I think I read some statistic with her cancer and with a double mastectomy that she had like a 78% chance of survival anyway. So after the mastectomy...
so she had the conventional treatment that actually saved her life.
Exactly.
And cured or got rid of the cancer.
Yes.
And yet, post that experience, her interest in the medical misinformation and the medical conspiracies, that sort of accelerated.
Yeah, so completely. So I think if you're familiar with Mel Gibson or Jess Ainscough in Apple Cider Vinegar, I think my mum saw this as her opportunity to mould herself as one of these wellness influencers. So she did the Gerson therapy after her cancer had been removed. And I think part of it, she believes some of it because she's a very distrusting, paranoid person. But I think she also was using it as an opportunity. So it comes, she does it, and it comes to around 2016, 2017, and she starts trying to build an online following, talking at, other alternative health seminars. But it wasn't until COVID that she really realised that this is my chance. This mainstreaming of anti-science narratives and this general public fear about health. And, as with a lot of things, she was able to take advantage of that fear to place herself in the middle. And that's kind of what skyrocketed her presence in the alternative wellness sphere.
Right. And then your sister, Paloma, was diagnosed with cancer.
Yes. So my mum and sister, as we all did, had like a very, very difficult relationship with my mother. So my sister started getting pains in her chest and her back around October 2023. Yeah. And she was estranged from my mum at this point. So again, my sister had the conventional diagnosis, got a biopsy, was engaging with doctors, had scans. And unfortunately, on the 22nd of December, she got told in hospital that she had non-Hodgkin lymphoma, which for a girl of her age, with her prognosis, very high survival rate.
Like 80%, right?
Exactly. So, I remember thinking, she'll do chemotherapy and she'll be fine. And she was engaging with the doctors and she was actively weighing up her options. But it was when she told my mum I've got cancer, that's when the control and the coercion started. And before I knew it, my sister had gone from not speaking to my mum to now she's removed from the hospital. Doctors are stopped from contacting her and she's, been coerced into doing this alternative therapy that my mum was advocating.
So she was given no conventional medical help whatsoever because she chose not to?
Not at all. My mum, no conventional medical help because my mum pressured her into not doing my mother and father pressured her into not doing chemotherapy. Either it was some of their associates feeding my sister misinformation regarding chemotherapy, saying it will kill you, or the survival rate isn't true, it's false, or they were saying our treatment's going to leave you fertile and it's a 100% chance of survival. So it was kind of from sort of both aspects of the coercion, but also just feeding her outright lies, outright falsities.
Gabriel, this is your twin sister. That must have been, for you and your brother, this must have been terrifying to think and to see her getting more and more ill when there is an opportunity for her to have been treated conventionally that could well have saved her life.
Well, so when I heard, so I actually heard on Christmas Eve, through my sister's boyfriend that she'd been discharged from the hospital and she was going to not do conventional treatment. I remember at that moment thinking, oh God, my sister's going to die if I don't do something as soon as possible. I know my brother had a similar feeling as well. And the most difficult part of it is, obviously, as me and my brother made our disagreement with our mum's treatment plan for our sister very apparent. My mum actually stopped me from seeing my sister for the final 7 months of her life. So the last time I actually saw her was when I tried to visit on early morning Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to see her until she died.
And Gabriel, how do you feel about your mum now in respect to your sister Paloma?
I mean, it's my opinion that she sacrificed my sister on the altar of her ideology for her own, for her own benefit, for her own public exposure. I've no feelings towards her. I think she should face justice, and I'm determined for her to face justice. Do I have any love? Is there any love lost between me and my mum? No, not at all.
Marianna, it's a heartbreaking story, and an investigation that you have looked into. It must have been extraordinary to uncover what is going on with all this medical misinformation.
Yeah, when Gabriel and Sebastian first contacted me, I interviewed Sebastian actually about his mum during the pandemic and his concerns about medical misinformation she was sharing and the impact it could have on the public. And then when I heard about what had happened to Paloma, obviously it's just incredibly sad for all of you and for everyone who loved and cared about her. And I think that, we tried to speak to Kate Shemirani and also to your dad, Faramaz Shemirani, her ex-husband. They didn't get back to us, but they've continued to promote a range of unproven theories about what happened to your sister, including suggesting that she was somehow harmed by medical staff and that there's been a cover-up taking place. I wrote to them with lots of allegations and they came back to say that they believed Paloma had died from medical interventions given without lawful consent or without kind of proper diagnosis. I've not seen any evidence to support those ideas. And I think speaking to, you and your brother, Gabriel, and then also some of Paloma's best friends, the people who cared about her, you guys had a really unusual childhood, perhaps is the right way of putting it, and you grew up surrounded by conspiracy theory beliefs. And so to some extent, it makes sense that there were some of those beliefs that Paloma or you guys at various points took on. But it did seem like the evidence suggests Paloma was moving away from those thoughts. And while this might seem like an extraordinary family story, which it is, it also actually does reflect this wider context in which this is happening. I mean, off the back of the investigation, I've had so many messages from patients, doctors, medical staff, talking about the impact of these kinds of conspiracy theory tactics that can be used, particularly when someone is understandably really worried. They've just been diagnosed with cancer.
Vulnerable, yeah.
Yes, they are.
And, the tactics that your sister experienced were things that seemed to be unfolding at home for her, whereas a lot of people are getting this on, or at least it started there, a lot of people are getting this on their social media feeds.
Yes.
It's being recommended to them by the algorithms, the systems. I ran these dummy accounts as part of the investigation just to see what people can be pushed. Typing in cancer treatments, there was a whole range of stuff that just wasn't true. And that was, conspiracy theories about doctors, unproven remedies, getting millions of views. And then you've got senior doctors who I spoke to as part of the investigation who say that they're kind of increasingly dealing with this visibility of the health misinformation, this mainstreaming of it. And by misinformation, we don't mean, genuine questions and concerns or real examples of medical malpractice. And also, there can be good things about doing complementary therapies along with treatment.
At the same time.
Exactly, but, and being healthy, that is a good thing. But this is about people rejecting kind of all forms of conventional medicine like chemotherapy and choosing those alternative therapies, believing that they could be curative.
Proven. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We did reach out to Paloma's mum and dad, to your parents as well. Neither responded directly to the allegations, but your mother has made unfounded allegations against the hospital and its staff. We've seen no evidence to substantiate these claims. The inquest is due to begin next month to establish the circumstances surrounding Paloma's death. What are you hoping we get from the inquest?
I'm hoping they establish the facts and they find the information that, my sister died as a result of the rejection of treatment, and as a result that the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma went untreated. And for me, I want obviously a definitive cause of death needs to be established first before we can start talking about medical negligence and getting justice for my sister and a possible criminal case. It's definitely something I'm discussing with my lawyers. But I think for me, kind of even in a broader sense, is I think when you have a family member that dies, the worst thing is that you worry that they're going to be one in a long line of people that die this way, because they're so special to you that you want everything about them to remain unique. And I didn't have the time to save, I couldn't save my sister in time, but I feel there's still enough time to save so many other people. And as Marianna said, so many people have got in contact since the documentary went out. I find there's a real pattern of a lot of young women, especially, are susceptible to this kind of stuff, because the alternative health industry sort of leverages these worries that women have about fertility, about femininity, about detoxing yourself, about cleansing yourself. And, you know, obviously a lot of women have issues with eating, and they leverage this, and they coerce women into doing these kind of treatments and rejecting treatments like chemotherapy, which, it does impact your fertility and does impact your, how you look. So I think for me what's important is, A, preventing and educating people so they don't fall into that trap. But then also, seeing if we can get the law changed to, to acknowledge medical coercion better, or
protect people better, essentially.
Or with the online bill that's going through.
The online safety bill.
Exactly, with more, right now legal but harmful is still allowed, and I don't think that should be the case, because. I think that's
about content on social media. And I think it's worth saying, like, the courage it takes for Gabriel and Sebastian to kind of speak up about something that is so deeply personal but clearly has impacted so many people, I think is really remarkable. Like, as a journalist who investigates this stuff, I've found it remarkable, and I'm sure that lots of people listening
The documentary is available to watch still on iPlayer, and is well worth seeing. Marianna, thank you for coming in. Gabriel, thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.